Hi friends, welcome to the YouTube class of Unacademy. I am Navpreet Kaur. I am an IELTS trainer at an IELTS institute here in Amritsar, and I've been into this line for the last 3 years. And yeah, okay. Hi friends, welcome to the YouTube class of Unacademy. I'm Navpreet Kaur. I'm an IELTS trainer at an IELTS institute here in Amritsar, and I've been into this line for the last 3 years. And so, friends, this is one of the classes. This is one of my first sessions on YouTube, so maybe there was some technical problem here. And but anyways, I'll be giving you these classes, and I request you all to kindly subscribe to my courses. My reference code is given here. Classes. This is one of my first sessions on YouTube. So this is my first session, and my subscriber code, my reference code is given here. So I request you all to kindly subscribe, use this reference code and subscribe to my live classes and also to the courses. That will help you to get not only get a discount but also to the various courses, various other educators, which will give you an access to the other educators, and also you can get a discount on your fee structure. So that will help you to give a complete, because if I give you classes online, that will be helpful to you, and it will also help you to give in detail, and you can learn the modules, the various modules in detail. So today I am going to give you a lesson on the IELTS speaking module. I would just like to give you an overview what the IELTS speaking module is, and after that I'll explain you in my upcoming sessions how we can score higher bands in the IELTS. For the IELTS speaking module, the basic duration, what we say, is for 11 to 14 minutes. The duration of the complete test is for 11 to 14 minutes, and it is divided into 3 parts. That means the speaking test is for 3 parts, and it is a face-to-face oral interview between the test taker and the examiner. I'm sorry, there are certain spelling mistakes here, and that is why. It is a face-to-face oral interview between the test taker and the examiner. That means the test taker would be sitting in front of the examiner, and examiner would be taking a kind of an interview of the test taker and analyze his speaking skills, how the person speaks, and what according to the parameters set by the IELTS exam, they have to assess your speaking abilities. So just don't get nervous about this. It is just an interview. It is not something very difficult thing. You can, if you are just yourself, be natural, you're yourself, you can speak on whatever the questions are asked, you can definitely score higher bands. The speaking tests are recorded. This is also one of the things, that the speaking tests are recorded, and in case you have any doubts about your speaking bands, or if you want to reassess them, if you get them reassessed, you can apply for that, and these speaking tests, the recordings, would help you to analyze it again and re-examine your test. These are recorded not from the very beginning, but they'll just take a warm-up type of a thing. They will ask you a certain questions like they'll see your ID proof, they'll just ask your name, and when the actual test begins, they start recording the test. And the total test is divided into 3 parts. As I told earlier, the total test is divided into 3 parts. There are different parts to it, and every part has their own duration and has its own significance. So if we talk about part 1, the duration of the part 1 is for 4 to 5 minutes, and in this part 1 they ask you general questions. They ask you some very general questions about yourself, or maybe about the familiar topics like home, your family, your friends, your hobbies, liking, dislikings, your work, your studies. So this is just a kind of question in which you can build a rapport with your examiner. So the questions asked in this are just general, like the person, they can ask you about yourself. They can say where you come from, does your name have any meaning, or was this name given to you by your parents, what did your parents think while giving your name, and such kind of things. They can take any particular topic and then they can discuss the questions on it. And this can be anything. These are just the general topics which we come across in our day-to-day life. It is not that you have to just learn those answers and there is a particular answer to a particular question. No, whatever you feel like speaking, you can speak, and whatever you think is the correct answer, or whatever according to you, it suits you, you can speak on that and give the answer in a very normal manner, as if we are talking to each other. Like as now you are in front of me, I am talking to you. Similarly, you can talk to the examiner also. Just be calm, be patient, don't panic. And since the topics will also be very general and of day-to-day life, so it won't give you any kind of a difficulty. The topic, sometimes they can ask you about your home, that in which kind of a home you live. Are you comfortable in your home? How many members live in your family? Whom do you live with? What do you do there? How do you spend your time in the room? Which is your favorite room? In which room does your family spend most of your time in? So these type of just general questions. And these questions vary between 8 and 12. These can be anything. Questions can be 6, 7 questions can also be there, but they can go up to 12 questions also. So you have to answer these questions, and for this part generally we recommend that you have to speak for 2 or 3 sentences, because no 1 word or 2 word answers should be there, because 1 word or 2 word answers are not complete answers. Or even a sentence. Suppose the examiner asks you, tell me something about your home. You say, my home is in the center of the city. You need to give some details also. It's in the center of the city. It's a single-story building and it's in one of the busiest parts of my city. So you can complete it that way. Or you can say that there is ample parking space, or you can say that we don't get the parking space. Anything, whatever you can say over here. So this is about the speaking part 1. The speaking part 1, as I told you again, is for 4 to 5 minutes. The first thing that they ask you in the speaking test is the introduction part. This part is called the introduction part, and this is for 4 to 5 minutes, and 7, 8 to 12 questions are asked in this, and you are supposed to answer in 2 or 3 sentences. No 1 word or 1 sentence answers in this part of the question, in this part of the test. Then comes part 2. Part 2 is also called the cue card or the long term. The duration of this part is from 3 to 4 minutes. Exactly, it is approximately 3 minutes, but when the examiner gives you instructions or certain other things, so it can take some more time, but the duration is generally 3 to 4 minutes. In this, the examiner asks you or gives you a cue card or a topic with some bullet points, and you have to elaborate on these bullet points and speak for 2 minutes. He'll give you a topic, a kind of a paper is provided over there. They provide you that paper and then they ask you to speak on this topic. Before you begin to speak, before beginning your cue card, you will be given 1 minute to prepare the cue card, and in that 1 minute you have to prepare everything. You have to just write the points or those topics. You have to make a short kind of point in which you can prepare or write your points on the topic given, so that you can elaborate on those points. You don't miss on something or you don't make pauses during your speaking for the cue card. It can happen that you have to speak for 2 minutes and just make the points, what the bullet points are there, and this I'll be explaining in my next sessions also, how you expand on your cue card, how you can write your answers. Just make those points and then you can refer those points and speak. It's not that you have to read those points, because reading is not allowed. The test is for speaking, not for reading. So when they give you a paper, you have to just make those points over there, and when you make those points you have to elaborate on those points, and keeping in view the bullet points or the questions asked in the speaking cue card. So sometimes when you finish your 2 minutes, when you finish speaking on that particular cue card, they might ask you some follow-up questions also. Like 1 or 2 follow-up questions can be there related to the topic what you are speaking. This is just a very simple question that if they ask you, if the cue card is regarding your studies, they might ask you something, some follow-up questions about what you have answered in your cue card, because they are the examiner. They are trying to examine you, what you are speaking and how you speak. So they'll definitely ask you something which is related to the cue card, and they will like to assess you, how you express yourself, how you answer those questions. So it is just a general way of speaking. They will give you, when you speak on the cue card, you need to expand a little more so that you can speak for the complete 2 minutes. The duration would be minimum 1 minute and maximum 2 minutes, but preferably you have to speak for 2 minutes, because that will add up to the fluency scores of your IELTS speaking module. If you speak short of length, suppose you are not able to speak for 1 minute, or you finish up your cue card in just 1 minute, the examiner sometimes encourages you to speak more. They make gestures to speak more. That means they are not satisfied with your answer at that point of time, and they want you to speak more on that particular topic. So you can understand by the gestures of the examiner, and then you have to continue your speaking. And of course, on that topic, do not be off topic. Do not start speaking on something other, whatever you come across at that time. You have to make up stories. It's not that you have to be truthful or you have to speak truth during that time. You can make a story, you can speak anything you want to. At that time, you have to just give certain type of answers and just build a story over there, and imagination. Use your imagination as much as you can, so that you can complete your 2 minutes, and also you can give yourself to the other person to analyze. The person who is analyzing you, he requires that particular time to assess your speaking skills, because the cue card is basically, this part of the speaking test is basically to assess your speaking skills, how you speak at length on a particular topic. Question answer sessions are that they ask you question, you give the answers, but in this question, in this part of the speaking test, they analyze you that how much you can speak at length on a particular given topic. So try to be relevant, try to be as much close to the topic and cover all the bullet points. Do not miss any of the bullet points which is there. So the part 3 of the speaking test. Again, the duration of this part is for 4 to 5 minutes, and the examiner further asks you a few questions about the topic of part 2. Whatever you have spoken in the part 2, he'll ask you further questions about it and provides you an opportunity to discuss more abstract ideas and the issues. Abstract means most of the questions asked in this part are sometimes vague or sometimes abstract, but you have to discuss them. Sometimes the examiner, they want you to discuss these questions and they want your views on a particular topic which you have talked about. Suppose they talk about the education, the cue card was about education or about the class you enjoyed most. Then here in this they can ask you, why did you enjoy most, or how do you feel that enjoying a class should be, or how do you enjoy the class, what was the thing that you enjoyed the most. So these are certain questions where they ask you different questions. Sometimes these questions are also like this, that they ask you about discussing about the same topic, like how that particular situation was in the past and how it is different now. So in that case you have to compare the particular situation like in the post 10 years or in whatever the period they might, sometimes they ask you that period also. Here you can express that way, that earlier people used to be like this but now it is like this. The situation used to be like this during that period but now it is like this. And sometimes the question can be comparing the present with the future. So they are trying to assess your imagination. Sorry. They are trying to assess your imagination, that how this situation would be different in the coming years. So in this session you have to compare, in this type of question you have to compare the present situation with the future one. They'll be asking you certain situations where you have to discuss it with your future, with the situation at present and as well as in the future. So here when you compare two things, definitely your answer would be longer, and you compare logically. Here the main thing would be that they want you to discuss certain topics, and as you discuss they will analyze your discussing power. They'll analyze how you can speak on some topic if it requires any kind of discussion, and how you express your views and your opinions to it. This is one of the parameters which is given to them to analyze your speaking skills. Of course there are different parameters. There are certain set parameters on which they analyze your speaking skills, and then they give you the bands in that kind of a question. Whatever the cue card is, they have a set parameter. Every examiner is so much trained and he is experienced that he can easily assess what you are speaking, that he knows where you are wrong and where you are correct, or where you are just wrong by mistake. Sometimes people can make mistake also. So they are able to understand that you are making a mistake unknowingly or knowingly. So, or sometimes you know what you are speaking, but it happens. It just mistake is has been just natural, but you know the fact, you know the actual answers. So this is how they analyze you in this part. The basic types, the basic speaking test, I would just like to tell you again, is the total speaking test is for 11 to 14 minutes, and sometimes it can go up to 15 or 17 minutes also nowadays. And the speaking module test is divided into three parts, and the main thing that they analyze in these three parts is your speaking skills, how you express yourself, how you answer the questions which are being put to you, and how you speak at length on a particular topic which is given to you. So these speaking skills give you an opportunity to express yourself. This test is basically about, yeah, that how you uh, verbally express yourself, because written and listening and reading are the different modules. So speaking is the one which is the main communication method, part of communication. Speaking is one of the most important communication systems, and we can communicate with the person through speaking. So this is what is analyzed in your speaking module. It is basically a face-to-face oral interview between the test taker and the examiner. That is, it's just a kind of verbal communication which we are conducting with our examiner. Examiner wants us to know more about us. He would ask us certain questions which we need to answer in a very natural manner. And uh, as the examiner speaks on something, we answer these questions. As the examiner goes by this, we answer these questions, and the answering the questions, you need to be very natural during these types of your speaking test. And what is required of you is that you have to speak in a very natural way. Then the speaking tests are recorded. These are recorded just for the purpose of the record also. And at the same time, if you want to know, if you sometimes there are people who are not as satisfied with their answers, they can apply for the revaluation of their speaking test. And since the tests are recorded, they analyze it what you have spoken, and they give you the correct bands, or they give you the bands according to what you have spoken. So that recording helps them to analyze. There are a panel of assessors, panel of examiners who check your recordings, who just give you the bands. This is not that the person who is there, he will give you bands. He will definitely give you bands, but there are other people also sometimes to recheck what they have given, and from the recording they can check your speaking abilities. That is why the recording is done, and this recording starts only when the actual test starts. Because initially when you enter the room, you will greet the examiner, or the examiner will greet you, and you share your identities. After that, the examiner might ask you some just general questions, and when the recording begins, he will definitely inform you that now the recording will begin, and I'm just switching on that recording so that you know that now your recording will begin and now the actual test would be there. So there are three parts in the speaking module. The first part comprises about certain questions on general topic, and the duration of this part is for 4 to 5 minutes, but the examiner asks you certain questions about maybe about yourself. He wants to know more about yourself. There can be 2 or 3 topics on which the examiner asks you, just general topics about yourself. He can include about your studies also, about your hobbies also, and 3-4 questions on each subtopic would be asked here, and you have to answer in a very normal and in a very general way, as if you are talking to your friend. Because when you speak in a natural way, you will definitely be at calm, and you will be able to think a little more, and you will be able to speak more confidently if you feel at ease. If you feel tensed, if you feel that the examiner sitting over there is just examining you, if you keep that view always in yourself and you are not able to concentrate, that will definitely affect your scores, because it shows on your face, your expressions, your way of speaking, everything would be reflected when you give the answers. So what might happen? The examiner would be asking you certain questions and you give the answer just a natural way as you give it to your friend. Don't take it very informally. You have to give formal answer. The language should be formal, but it should be natural. Just try to be comfortable with the examiner and give your answers as comfortably as you can. Because the topics which would be asked in this section, in this part 1, which is also called the introduction part, that is basically to introduce yourself with the examiner. The questions are to just build a bond between you and the examiner, to just think, just a kind of fun, you can say, connection between the examiner and the test taker. So they ask you questions about your home, about your family, how many members are there in your family, or they can ask you something about your friends. Who is your favorite friend? Can you describe something about her or him? Or how many friends do you have? Who is anything related to those friends? 3-4 questions. Or about your hobbies. What's your hobby? When did you develop this hobby? What do you like the most about it? What do you learn from it? Certain things like this. Then likes, dislikes, your work. One of the general questions asked in this section, in this part, is do you work or study? This is normally they ask in this part, but do you work or study? So that depends whether you work or study. You can give your answer according to that. Then comes the section 2, the part 2 of the speaking test. In this part, they will try to make you as comfortable as you can, and the examiner would definitely try to take the maximum out of you, and the examiner tries to give you the opportunity where you can speak comfortably at length. The duration of this part is 3 to 4 minutes. Actually it is 3 or a little more than 3, but to be on the safer side, we can say that 3 to 4 minutes. This the examiner gives you some time to just make some points on what you have to speak. They'll provide you the material like a paper or a pencil, and they will ask you to speak on a certain single topic, and there would be certain bullet points on it. Bullet points or some top questions would be there on which you have to elaborate. Examiner will give you the material, the paper and the pencil would be provided to you. If you want to make the notes, you can make the notes over there and elaborate on that particular topic which would be given to you. When you make the notes, make sure that you make those notes keeping in view the questions which are asked in the bullet points. You have to cover up all those questions there. So when you cover these questions, when you speak on this, just it's not that when you make the notes, you write whole answers. It will be a wastage of time. Don't do that. Just write a few words about that particular question, and then as you glance on it when you speak, you will be allowed to glance or just refer those points and then elaborate on those points, because when you refer to that, when you read that paper, you'll be able to recall what you had thought at that time. That basically helps you to make a flow of your ideas. When you write the cue card, when you make those points, you are sure of what you are going to speak, and you know at least what will be there. You can make up the story in an easy manner if you make those points. Sometimes I feel that some students, they say that they are not comfortable making the points because they think that speaking otherwise is easy for them. So that is up to you. It's not important that you should make the points. It's up to you. If you are comfortable speaking the other way, you can go that way. But only thing is that you have to cover all the bullet points and you should not pause in between. Cover all the bullet points, speak at length, speak for at least 2 minutes so that the examiner gets an opportunity to assess you for how you can speak at length on a particular given topic. So sometimes it can happen that when you are speaking, you don't remember a particular word. Don't waste your time on that, on remembering those words. Suppose you want to speak in a very like you want a vocabulary to be used, and if you are not able to remember that word, then what's the use of that vocabulary? And you will obviously it's better to speak whatever comes to your mind, because otherwise you will lose on the bands if you pause for more than the natural pauses. Try to recall, but practice helps you to understand. If you practice for speaking for a little time with the people, or I'll give you strategies on how you can practice on the cue cards. I'll be giving you certain other questions, certain other lessons on how you can get higher band scores in your different modules of the IELTS. Because in this 1 hour, I won't be able to give you each and every detail, and you can just go by and just subscribe to my various lessons, and my reference code is given here. You can just go by this. It's Nav_Preet 71-5476. Use this reference code and then subscribe to this. Using this reference code, you will get an access to various other educators also. At the same time, you will also get a discount on your course fee. That will be a beneficial fact for you. You will not only get discount on the course fee, but also you can get an access to the various other educators who are there into this field, and you will have an access to learn the various other modules and the various other topics from the other educators also, because you will have a variety of the things to learn from. Okay, then let's come to the part 3. Part 3 is also called the discussion questions. The duration of this part is for 4 to 5 minutes. And discussion question means that in this, the examiner will ask you certain discussion questions, certain questions related to the cue card or the topic which you have spoken earlier in the part 2. And he wants you to discuss on certain topics, on certain questions, on certain issues or something, whatever is related to that cue card. That is why it is called the discussion questions. Here the examiner would ask you a few questions, and these questions could be 5 to 6 questions, but here the answers, what is expected of you, should be more than 3-4 lines, because in the introduction part, as I told you, that the answer should be for 3-4 sentences or 2-3 sentences. Here it has to be a little lengthier. Here you have to answer it in approximately 5 to 6 sentences. You have to give reasoning for your answers. You have to explain it at length. questions are also, of course, sometimes of those topics where you can expand on your answers, because if you express yourself and when you give your views on a certain topic, you definitely speak for 5 to 6 lines, and this is what is expected of you. They don't want you to be more technical, or they don't want you to learn certain formulas in giving those answers. You have to be natural, and you can just uh, discuss on the given topic or in the given question. So here the mostly questions which are asked are about, although they are related to the cue card, but the questions are sometimes abstract, and the examiner wants to assess you on your ability to discuss these abstract topics, abstract issues, and how you can give your abstract ideas, how you can discuss at length on a certain given topic, giving answers to the questions which the examiner wants. Sometimes it happens that you speak at a length and the examiner stops you in between. That doesn't mean that you were wrong somewhere. It means that examiner has understood, he has assessed you in that particular question, and as there is also a stipulated time, they have to follow those timelines also. So that is when he stops you in between and he moves to the next question. So don't be bothered if the examiner stops you in between when you are speaking. Here, sometimes the questions are in such a way that they want you to answer in a way which is like comparing of certain situations, or they can ask you certain questions where they want you to speak at length or discuss something about your discuss something about a particular topic. Or if they like, the question can be, do you think the studying in school or teaching art and school is better for the students? How do you feel it? Or do you feel that in the future art would be taught in the schools? Or do you think that if art is taught, it will help the students? Such type of questions. Now that is just, they want to analyze you, how much you speak, how much you can discuss on a certain topic, and they want you to speak, express your views, express your ideas, how you can expand on those ideas, and how you can speak on a particular topic, and how you can compare certain situations. So in these, when an examiner asks you about two situations, in that case it will help you to answer in a longer way, because when you, if you speak about one situation and then you compare it with the other situation, it will definitely increase the length of your answer. And this is what they want. This is what the examiner wants you to speak on the questions of this part. They want you to speak at length on a particular given topic, and on these topics they want you to discuss on the certain issues or the certain ideas related to the cue card which you have spoken. Hope you understood about all the different parts of the speaking. And now, what they analyze. The skills that are assessed in the speaking test are, now I would give you the details what is assessed and what skills they analyze in the speaking test. The first thing that they analyze is the ability, your ability to communicate opinions and information on everyday topics and common experiences. Like what experiences you have in your daily life. They'll ask you questions related to that, and they want you to communicate that to the examiner and communicate it to others. How you can effectively communicate these things. This is what they want to analyze. How you can effectively communicate your opinions or the opinions or the information, any different information which is asked on the general topics, or on if they want you to discuss on certain topics, they how effectively you can express yourself on these everyday topics and common experiences of the life. Then they analyze you for your ability to speak at length on a given topic using an appropriate language. Yes, using an appropriate language. That means the language should be formal one, and it should have all those parameters which is required for you to speak in this module. The examiner will analyze you basically for how you speak and how you can use the appropriate language. Using the appropriate language means not using a rubbish language, but yes, formal language, and with the correct grammar and the correct usage of the words. And you know that what word would be used at what place. This is, they analyze you when they speak to you at length. Both the part 2 and the part 3, they mainly contribute to this ability where you can speak at length on a given topic. Then another ability which they analyze is your ability to organize and present your ideas. How you can organize your ideas and how you can present it effectively, because presentation is also one of the communication skills. And when you have certain ideas and when you know how to express yourself, how you can organize your abilities and how you can present yourself, this is one of the abilities they assess in your speaking test. So you should know how to organize yourself, how to express your ideas in an organized manner, and how to express them, how to present them to the others, so that the others can easily understand them, and in a very simple manner they should be able to analyze you. Then another ability that is assessed in the speaking test is ability to justify your opinion. If you give your opinion on a certain topic, if they ask you to discuss on a certain topic, you should be able to justify it. If you are not able to justify it, you won't be able to speak much on that particular topic. So when you have a certain opinion of something, of some issue, you know why you are taking that opinion, why you have that opinion. When you know the reasons why you have that opinion, you have to express that reasons in verbally and in an organized manner. This is what they are expecting. When you express your opinion, when you express your views in an organized manner, and you are able to justify your opinion, you know why you are giving this opinion, and you express it effectively, that means you are a good speaker. That means you have given correct answers, and your speaking test would definitely be positive, and definitely the examiner would benefit from it. It's not that if you are wrong in grammar but you can justify your opinion, doesn't make that your answers are wrong. There are no wrong or correct answers in speaking. Only your how you speak, how you express yourself, your ability to communicate, that is assessed here in the speaking module. Then another ability that they check is your ability to discuss and analyze any situation. Sometimes they give you a situation like they ask you that how do you feel if this happens to you, or how would you if in the coming years this would happen, what will you do in that kind of a situation. Sometimes they ask you these type of questions also, that how you can analyze that situation. Or maybe sometimes they ask you that how do you think education would be in the next 50 years, although you don't know what would be there, because you just have to anticipate, you have to just think about it, that what the situation would be in the next 50 years. This is just your imagination. They are analyzing how you can discuss it and how you can analyze the situation. How can you use your imagination to discuss a certain situation, and how you can analyze it in the future, or how you can speak at length on that particular thing, and your ability to just perceive a certain situation. So these are certain skills which they are analyzing in the speaking test. Main thing is that your communication should be in that ways that it should be easy to understand, and every person whom you are talking to should be able to understand you. The main motive of the IELTS speaking test is this, that whatever you want to convey, you should be able to convey your feelings in a very systematic and streamlined manner. You should be able to tell what you have about, what opinions you have about that particular situation. So it's just a simple natural way of analyzing yourself in different situations, and analyzing you at various speaking communication skills. The speaker there has that ability to analyze you, to assess you on different parameters of the speaking. They check your grammar, they check your lexical resource, they check your fluency, your pronunciation. And pronunciation means that the word which you are speaking is correctly pronounced, or you are wrongly pronouncing it. So it doesn't mean that you have to use a certain extent accent to it. You have to be natural. Whatever we people have, whatever accent I have, I'll be speaking in that manner in a better way, and I'll be able to express myself in a better way if I will be natural, and if I speak whatever language abilities I have. That will give you a benefit, and that will definitely help you to score higher bands, because the examiner would be able to assess you, your natural instinct of saying something, your natural way of speaking. He'll be able to analyze you and give you bands according to how you express yourself in a given situation, and how you express yourself in a natural and a simple manner without using any stress. If you take the stress, or if you express yourself with difficulty, it will give you a bad impression. You should try to communicate in a better way and give a better impression of yourself on the examiner. So friends, this was all about the speaking test and how this is analyzed. How it is analyzed, what is there in the speaking test, and how you can score higher bands. So I just want to remind you once again, kindly enroll with my classes, kindly enroll with my courses using my reference code now_Preet71-5476, and avail the benefit of a 10% discount, and also get an access to the various other educators on the platform. As Unacademy is one of the best platforms I have seen, in which you can just benefit sitting in the comfort of your home, and you can learn the various things. You can learn the courses without you having to go to the coaching centers. You can sit in the comfort of your home, avail the benefits of it, and learn whatever you want to. And at the same time, there is a lot of flexibility of time in it. There are different timings of all the courses. There are different educators, and all of those educators are quite experienced, and they are able educators. So Unacademy gives you an opportunity to learn from the best educators in the world, and it also gives an opportunity to you to learn sitting in the comfort of your home. So friends, that was all for the class today, and this was in the IELTS speaking module. In my upcoming classes, I would be giving you in lessons on detail on how to answer each module and how you can score higher bands in each of these modules. So thank you for watching my video. Thank you, friends.